Welcome. My name is Neha Ravel. I'm the Associate Director for the Student Affairs Office of the Donald Bren School of Information and Computer Sciences. I'm going to wait for everybody to log in. I see that there are a lot of people coming in, so I'll start the introduction in just a few minutes. Hi, everyone. Welcome. My name is Neha Ravel. I am the Associate Director of the ICS Student Affairs Office for the Donald Bren School of Information and Computer Sciences. We're going to do just a quick overview about the School of Information and Computer Sciences here at UCI and talk to you a little bit about what we do and a little bit about ICS is what we call it. Also, just a little bit more about what, an overview of what ICS life is like. I do see people still coming in, and so I'm going to start it in just a few minutes, but I wanted to give all the attendees a chance to come on in and get settled before I get started on this. So again, welcome. This is an overview for the Donald Bren School of Information and Computer Sciences. Some quick facts about ICS. In 1968, we were founded as an independent department, and in 2002, we established ourselves as an independent school. We are, to date, the only computing-focused school in the entire UC system, and in the School of Information and Computer Sciences, we have 3 departments: computer science, informatics, and statistics. We have well over 90 faculty, and actually I should change that number. It's now actually 11,000 plus alumni. Recently in the news, for the 2021 list of best colleges by US News and World Report, we were listed as the 25th best computer science program, and this was out of 481 evaluated programs. We were listed as the 12th best public university. In subcategories to drill down, we were actually placed 6th in software engineering programs and 17th in data analytics and science. Just some information about our undergraduate program. We have 7 undergraduate majors: computer science, data science, informatics, computer game science, software engineering, computer science and engineering, and business information management. One of the things that we are doing is we've transitioned. So computer game science, the reason I left it there is because that's what most people are familiar with in terms of our website. It is now going to change. It is transitioning. It's been updated to game design and interactive media. So for anybody who's interested in game design, in AR, VR, MR, any of those areas, game design and interactive media is really a perfect fit for you. And we will be having an information session for that particular major at 3:30. In fall 19, our enrollment stats, we were over 3,500 students in undergraduate programs in ICS, and we awarded over 900 degrees in the computer sciences and information computer sciences. We have 95 tenure track faculty, which is a 40% increase over the past 5 years. We actually have the 2nd largest undergraduate major on campus. As I mentioned before, we have over 11,000 alumni, and we're very proud of this statistic. About 50% of our ICS majors are a minority, female, or first-generation students. So we're quite a diverse student population. These are just some of the industry connections that we have, and there's a lot more coming up. For those of you who may have looked at our websites, we are very active with our industry partners, and we actually recently kicked off a career development series in September, which culminated in an ICS industry series workshop for 2 days where over 20 companies came and presented, including Google. There are a multitude of research opportunities for you, and these are just some of the ways to access those research opportunities. You can always initiate research on your own by meeting with a faculty member. We do have the ICS Honors Program, which is a one-year admissions related program. There is the UCI Undergraduate Research Opportunities Program, and here's what happens is that students will find a faculty advisor and they'll work together, but Europe does a great job of providing guidance, and they provide funding, and they actually will help you hook up with the faculty mentor. So this is it's a great way for you to get hands-on attention while doing a research opportunity. There are multitude of campus programs that provide stipend or summer housing, including the Summer Undergraduate Research Program, the Summer Undergraduate Research Fellowship in Information Technology, so our SURF-IT. So you can look into those programs as well for research. Here are just some of the research areas that we have under this Donald Brent School of Information Computer Sciences. And you can see that we're quite diverse in our research areas and what our faculty do, all the way from biostatistics, informatics to software engineering, and there's visual computing, theory of computation, machine learning, and so forth. Our curriculum is also quite diverse. We have at UCI well over 80 majors and 65 minors. We actually offer students a one-unit seminar, freshmen especially, which is limited to 15 students, and it's basically an opportunity for you to see what's out there in different areas of interest. So a lot of you come in with not just wanting to do computing, but you also have an interest in the arts, in mathematics, in social sciences, and in criminal justice, and so forth. And so this is a great way for you to just get an exposure to areas of interest that you may have. The Education Abroad program is quite popular, and there are well over 400 programs in over 40 countries. Our majors are project-based. We do focus on the project-based learning experience. I'll highlight the informatics major, for example. This particular major, for example, has a 2-quarter-long senior project design course. And in this course, teams are actually partnered with a corporate client. And your team will then connect with your corporate client, determine what the client wants, and then continue to have feedback meetings, continue to then work on your project. Again, then have additional feedback meetings so you can get a feedback on what you've developed so far. The end goal is to provide a product or a solution for your client, and that's the end of 2 quarters. So for this particular senior design project, for example, informatics, software engineering are 2 majors that are quite involved in the 2-quarter design project. Computer science hosts a multitude of 1-quarter projects, and they are actually they've just started this year, a 2-quarter senior design project as well. So there's a lot of different ways for you to, regardless of what major you choose, to get that project experience and leverage that experience when you are interviewing for internships and full-time jobs. You are definitely going to have a lot of student interaction as an ICS student. And just you can see over here, there's 13 student organizations affiliated with the School of Information Computer Sciences, and that is actually growing. And so there are a number of ways for you to really enhance your student experience here in ICS, not just with your classes and maybe with research, but also working with the student clubs that really match your area of interest, and then developing that interest further. So for example, for those of you who are interested in going into the video game design industry or gaming industry, VGDC, Video Game Development Club, is actually perfect for you because not only will you be able to work with students with like interests, but also you can work on developing portfolio pieces in addition to what you develop in class. Contrary to some popular belief, you will actually have a life here in the computing world and computer sciences. This is just evidence of what you can, what students are engaged in throughout the year. I know we're all remote right now, but we do hope to still enhance their student experience while remote. So when we do come back, these are just some of the events that we're looking forward to hosting again in person. So let me just tackle a few of the frequently asked questions. I already see a question in queue, and I just thought I'd tackle some of these questions that you might have. For some students, they are thinking of trying to apply to one major and then change over to one of our majors later on. And you should know that the School of Information Computer Sciences does not accept any student change of majors when they are new students. You are asked to matriculate into the major of admission and then work towards the change of major criteria and then apply for consideration. Can you admit change majors? Sure, but you must again matriculate into your major of admission and then pursue our change of major criteria. Leading to that, if you are thinking of changing majors, can you enroll in our classes in fall quarter? Our courses are restricted to majors only, and therefore our newly admitted students will get first access to our fall quarter courses. Anything that's open after they've enrolled, we do release after Labor Day. The best time for anyone who's not admitted to an ICS major to take one of our courses is to do it off module, either winter, spring, or the summer. Some general FAQs. Can I have someone tell me what classes I can take in the summer or in the fall? We can only provide this information during summer orientation to our admitted students, and that's simply because of the large number of applications that we receive and students that we admit. All of our students who do accept their admission must go through a mandatory summer advising session. Course registration actually for the fall takes place in the summer advising session. Anybody who's going to do a change of major, let's say, for example, you get admitted to undecided undeclared and you want to work towards a change of major to software engineering, just matriculate into your major and go from there. Who can I talk to about student experience in ICS? Send us an email, ucouncil@uci.edu, with the request to chat with one of our student advisors. They're happy to chat with you. Can I have someone review my transcript and tell me what credit I have? Again, this is not something that we can do. We do actually ask all of our admitted students during summer orientation to send us a transcript so we can evaluate them and then go through and figure out what's your best schedule in the fall. So are there any questions? I'm going to take a lot of them right now in the Q&A, but I did want to also give you this email, ucouncil@uci.edu. If for any reason after today, let's say later on tonight, you get, you have a question that you want to ask, let me know, and I'm happy to answer it, or anyone in the Student Affairs Office in our school can answer it for you. Let me tackle some questions that I've received in queue. Is the game design major also in our school? Yes, game design and interactive media is actually a major in the School of Information and Computer Sciences. And that information session will take place at 3:30. So definitely do come back so that you can get more information about that major. Can we do a double major in after transfer? Is there any requirement for declaring a double major? What happens is if you've applied and we've received admission into, let's say, informatics, and you decide, I really want to double major in informatics and economics, you're going to proceed with the informatics major that you've admitted to, and then you'll work towards a change of major requirements for the additional major like economics that you want to also pursue. You're going to then apply to double major in both majors, and both schools of those majors must review you for admission. So that's basically the process and the requirements in order to double major. Can I change majors within the ICS school? You can change majors within the ICS school. We actually designed the first year to be very homogeneous and very similar. So all of you will start with the ICS 31 coursework. Game design interactive media is the only one that doesn't start with the ICS 30 series. It goes right immediately into the game design courses. So if you are thinking of, for example, let's say you matriculate to computer science and then you realize, no, I really want to do game design and interactive media. That's okay. The courses that you take in your first year, you can always use towards the GDIM major. We do design our courses to have a little bit of overlap with that. In order to change majors into our school, you do need to meet the change of major requirements for that major and then apply for that. What are the internship opportunities available at UCI? I am applying to get into the business information system. So business information management is what we have here. It is a hybrid degree between the management degree and the informatics and computing degrees that we have here at ICS. The internship opportunities that are available to all of our students, we have an amazing Division of Career Pathways office. They host an career fair every quarter. In fact, we just had the STEM career fair, and to support that, ICS itself offers, we kicked off a career development series before the quarter started this September. And then we also just finished up last week the industry speaker series. So we had over 20 companies come. Right now, companies are already recruiting for internships. So we try to create as many opportunities as we can for you to access these recruiters and these companies. Our student clubs are very, very active as well in linking students to corporate recruiters. So it is definitely important for you to not only make sure that you remain connected with us here in the School of ICS, but also with your student clubs. What is the acceptance rate specifically for computer science? I don't know specifically for that major. I will say that it is competitive, and the reason why is that, again, we are growing very quickly, but more importantly, one of the statistics I just learned is that at 1920, we actually produced about approximately 2% of all computing graduates from bachelor's to PhD in the United States and Canada. That's huge. So for 2% of that entire population is rather large. And so my advice always is that we don't really specifically have admissions targets or criteria that you need to meet. It's basically competitive based on your GPA, your scores, and then also it's a holistic review. So what you've done outside of school, have you been, what have you been engaged in? It is going to be a little bit different this year because we've all been remote, but we are mindful of that. So is game design an emphasis in the computer science degree? No, it is not. Game design and interactive media is actually its own degree, and it is a Bachelor of Science. What's the difference between the computer science and the computer science and engineering majors? Okay, this is a very good question. We have 7 majors. So the best way I can describe this to you is along the spectrum. In the old days, one end of the spectrum would be hardware and the other end of the spectrum would be software. And that's really expanded as the technology frontier continues to grow. So where hardware used to be circuits, it's now really circuits and devices. Where software used to be, it's really people in society and human interaction. So we have, in this entire very large spectrum, a number of majors in ICS that actually fit alongside the spectrum. So computer science is the typical degree you see nationwide. It covers a little bit of software engineering, networks, data management, machine learning, artificial intelligence, embedded systems, and it goes into a large breadth of computing. Because it is a broad degree, it does not go into great detail or great depth. That is why this major has 7 specializations, and you can choose to then drill down and then basically focus your area of interest a little bit more. We do have a general computer science specialization. It allows you to be a generalist because some of you do want that broad exposure. You want to have that exposure to database management, as well as to networking, as well as to software engineering, for example. Computer science and engineering is a hybrid degree. It is a hybrid between computer science and the computer engineering degree. That degree is actually in the School of Engineering. So you're going to basically learn from computing from from devices on up, and how do devices interact with software engineering or machine learning or other components of computing. So it is really truly a hybrid degree. Can you do a double major in computer science and game design and interactive media? Yes, you can. You can actually double major in both of those. What is the acceptance rate specifically for informatics? Again, I don't know the specific acceptance rates for each major. It is, it really is based one on GPA, but also again what you've done and whatnot. So it's not really something that I can quote in terms of data right away. Is VGDA strictly for those who major in game design? I plan to major in computer science, but also have an interest in video game development. No, the Video Game Development Club is open to all majors. In fact, we have majors from the School of Arts as well as other non-ICS majors as well. It's anytime you do a game design or collaboration, it is truly a collaborative effort. And so you may have a music major who's providing the music for your game, for example. Can students work in robotics, or is that part of the engineering school? I think the closest that you can get to robotics here is probably a hybrid degree between either mechanical engineering as well as computer science for the artificial intelligence and machine learning option. So those two together, I think, would be a great combination for robotics. But usually robotics is in the School of Engineering. How large is the largest classroom in computer science? The largest classroom here in the entire campus holds for about 400 students. We no longer really have we do have a 400 person class that we will host, for example, computer science 161. And if we do something like that, we actually do occupy the largest lecture hall, we will have much smaller discussion sections, because in lectures, you're listening to the instructor, the faculty member, provide the lesson for that day. There may be some interaction as well, but discussions are really where you want to have that intimate conversation with your instructor, with your TA, and ask all the questions that you have in terms of, okay, I didn't quite get this. Can you please go over it again? This is where I'm missing the concepts on. And this way you can also listen to other questions that students have and have a much more diverse and just a great course experience. Can I have both majors in the ICS school? I don't know which majors you're referring to. So Justin, if you could just let me know which two majors you were talking about. Some of our majors are restricted. So for example, you cannot double major in computer science and engineering. Those two are not allowed to overlap. What percentage of students ICS majors are Black? I actually saw some data recently, and I can look that up for you. So if you actually want to email me that question, and I will go ahead and get that that data for you. You can look at any data that we have online and see there. But we are definitely very mindful of the fact that we want to continue to grow our diversity. In fact, we have an Office of Access and Inclusion that works specifically with URMs to really ensure that they get mentoring that they need, any tutoring help, any kind of guidance for corporate internships as well. So it's an excellent way for you to really get the support that you need, but more importantly, to get that additional hands-on attention that will help you, ensure that you will meet your goals. So if we get accepted as a CS major, will we be attending the ICS school? Yes, computer science is in the Donald Brown School of Information Computer Sciences. So you will be in that school. Are the applications for the computer science major reviewed by faculty in your school or only read by the admissions personnel? So admissions here is centralized at UC Irvine. It is processed and reviewed by the Office of Admissions and their admissions reviewers. Our faculty do engage in a holistic review, a secondary review of a subset of applications, but they don't determine who gets admitted, who doesn't get admitted. It is always a composite of any and all reviews that we do here at UCI. Are any of the majors impacted? I would say that computer science is probably definitely it is our second largest major, it is largest major on campus, and it's definitely the one that people most gravitate towards because it is a known brand name. So I do see a large number of applications and admissions into computer science. I also see a lot of computer science majors changing majors out into software engineering, into informatics, into computer science engineering, for example. So it works itself out in that regard. The school is definitely mindful of the fact that there is growth, there is interest, and we go from there. Is data science a competitive major? I think in terms of admission, the key to look for is that we want to admit, we want to admit as many students as we can, sure. But when you get a record number of applications each year, it does become competitive. So your GPAs matter, your test scores matter. If you've done anything to stand out, for example, computer science clubs or other leadership roles, for example, that is definitely something that we look into. So how can I access the internship since I'm not yet enrolled? I'm a transfer student. You can't. If you are not a UCI student, you cannot access any of the UCI career fairs, Division of Career Pathways, or anything that we offer for our students. You must be a student in order to access that. Is the computer science major impacted? Is there a minimum GPA required for acceptance? It isn't. We are basically following the UC admissions criteria. So minimum GPA to be considered for UC admission is 3.0. So that is the base. After that, basically, it is anything to do with going into how many applications we get, what are the GPAs that we're seeing, what did they do? Did they take 4 years of mathematics? Did they take 4 years of science, for example? It goes in. So it's really a matter of what kind of an admissions pool we have. I understand it is more difficult to major in computer science if it is not your first choice, but is it difficult to change out of the CS major? Like, how is the process to do so? So every major has a change of major policy. As long as you meet the change of major policy, you will be admitted. Let's say, for example, you go in, you choose the computer science major and you realize, and you're accepted and you attend. And you realize after your first quarter, I don't think CS is the right fit for me. I really want to focus on human-computer interaction or design or project management. And I think informatics is the better fit for me. We do get that a lot. So so you can then work towards a change of major for informatics and then change majors to informatics in a very efficient manner. But if you ever want to see the change of major policy, it is changeofmajor.uci.edu. How common are double majors in ICS? Not that common, mainly because most of our majors are interested in not just pursuing one single degree, but also growing a transcript while they're doing that. Anytime you do a double major, you should be aware that you're probably going to add another year onto your time to degree. So a four-year single major will turn into a 5-year double major, and that's perfectly fine. But I would say that I do see double majors often, but it is definitely not a large percentage of the population. How would you describe the ratio of CS content in the game and interactive media program? What would be your recommendation for someone who is on the fence about trying that program instead of CS? That's actually an excellent question to ask. Professor Salen is doing the information session for Game Design and Interactive Media, GDIM. So I suggest asking her that question. And the reason why is the ratio, the game design and interactive media, any kind of gaming major is very specific to design and so forth, gameplay as well. So if you want to also take CS courses for your upper division electives, the GDIM major does have a number of electives you must take. You can actually take computer science courses and computer science related courses for your upper division elective and get that CS field for your GDIM degree. So it is definitely doable. If you want to do that major, but let's say, for example, you're not sure if you want to go into the gaming industry or you want to go into a mainstream industry, you can always do a double major. That's perfectly fine. And there will be some overlapping classes. What is the acceptance rate for transfer students into business information management? For transfer admission, it is very specific to what major you're applying to. So I always tell students, it's very competitive. You want to make sure that your GPA is good, is very strong, minimum 3.4, 3.5. Stick to ensuring that your computer science and math courses are a grade of B or higher. And then also make sure you are going to meet all of the admissions criteria. For business information management specifically, it's not just a computing requirement for admissions, it has a mathematics requirement for admissions, and it has economics and management courses for admissions. So you want to make sure you're meeting all of those. What is the average GPA for students admitted into CS? I just recently saw statistics actually this morning. For the fall 19 admitted class, the average GPA was 4.02. And that's typically, that's freshman, that's a freshman GPA. So it's not specifically for the major, it's just for the school itself. Do you need to declare a major right away? No, actually, we under ICS have an 8th major called ICS undeclared. You can actually, in your application say, look, I want to be in the School of Information and Computer Sciences. I just don't know which major yet. So I'd like to be undeclared under the School of Information and Computer Sciences. We all have that in all of our schools. And this way you can then be admitted to ICS undeclared, matriculate, and then we'll work with you to help you identify which is the right fit for you. Is the game design major impacted? It is not. GDIM is actually designed to grow. So we are definitely excited for this transition from computer game science to GDIM. And we're also excited to really have a great cohort of students who want to, just dive right in and get into game design and play. What is the difference between computer science and software engineering? Okay, so software engineering, I think the best way I can describe this is just to use an example. So I like using cloud computing as an example. When we design in software engineering, you're looking at software design, software architecture, software engineering, for example, human-computer interaction. So cloud computing, and I'll use Google as an example, you have the Google Drive, you have all the different programs within the Google Drive. You have Google Photos, you have other things as well. Gmail, for example, calendar. So all of these things are, are applications that have been developed. It must also have a very nice design so that it's intuitive and people can understand it. So if my 75-year-old mom wants to go into Google and she wants to learn how the suite works, then she can do that. It should be very intuitive. 2, security. You want to make sure that anything that you're designing is very secure. It's not going to be easily hacked. 3, database management, data management. As our users keep using, for example, that product, they are going to store more and more information. And how do we manage all of that data information? How do we process it and keep it and not just keep it safe, but keep it accessible for everybody? So this is a good example of software engineering. You're not just looking at the front end design, like what are my users going to interact with, but you're also looking at the back end design, algorithms, artificial intelligence, network security, database management, information systems. So these are all part of software engineering. Computer science is a much broader focus. So for example, machine learning, artificial intelligence, computer networks, software engineering as well, systems design. So systems engineers, how does systems design work with the software that is there? I can go on and on. Embedded systems, for example, all of that is in computer science. It's quite broad in its focus. So if you're if you're not quite sure what you want to do, I'm not sure if I want to go into intelligent systems and work with machine learning, for example, or I'm not sure if I want to do database administration and architecture. I just don't know what I want to do. Probably start with computer science first or ICS and declare. You get a better idea of what you want to do. For example, you want to be a software engineer. I would definitely suggest the software engineering major. That major is really well designed for the software engineering area, and it actually culminates in a 2-quarter project class where you are working with a client and a team. So it is going to give you a much more robust experience. Is there a UX UI design major at UCI? Yes, that is informatics. Great question. So anyone who's interested in user interface UX UI design, definitely look at informatics. You're going to really love the major and you'll love the experience. And that major also culminates in a 2-quarter long senior design project class. So it will really come all together and then you'll be able to really work with a client and then produce a solution. You are also going to be just working with software engineering majors, with other areas and people, project managers and whatnot. So it really gives you an exposure to different with different thoughts, but also what people want to do different, you know, in their area of interest. If we get accepted to computer science, what opportunities will you receive? Well, once you're admitted to ICS, it's up to you to decide what you want to do and what opportunities you want to access. The university has a significant number of opportunities for its students at the university level, at the graduate level, undergraduate level, at the school level, as well as maybe in the major. So it's really up to you to decide what are your goals? What do you want to accomplish? What do you want to ensure that you access and that you really get an opportunity to be exposed to? So I could do an hour-long talk just on the opportunities that we have at UCI and ICS, but I think I really put the onus on you. You're going to have to start thinking about, you know, in terms of a 4-year plan, what in the next 4 years, what do I want to accomplish? In my 5th year, when I graduate, where do I want to see myself? When you figure out that game plan, then what you want to do is you want to strategize. How am I going to accomplish these things? We do have what we call an ICS student timeline on our website, on the undergraduate site. And it does show you how you can break up your 4 years under social and professional and academic experiences. So I would take a look at that. Which major is more broad when looking for a job, computer science or game design? Or are you really only limited to only designing games in the job world? I think I've been doing this for almost 25 years. I have yet to have a major not be able to find a job if they have a strong resume. It really depends on what you do. So how much investment you're going to make in yourself. So it's not just important that you take your classes and do well in them. It's also important that you leverage your course experience into internships so you build a transcript and you build a resume at the same time. My students who do that are getting the internships. They are getting multiple job offers, and it's informatics major or game science major or computer science major. So it really is up to you and what is it that you want to bring to the table when you are interviewing. Game design and interactive media is focused specifically on those areas. If you want to, let's say, go on to mainstream industry, that's possible. You're just going to ensure that when you take the upper division electives, you tailor them to a much more computer science focused, as opposed to, let's say, an arts focus. Is informatics similar to information technology? So informatics is a global term that we use. It's not in French, it's informatique for computer sciences, for example. Japan, the UK, whatnot, they all use informatics. It's a very globally recognized name term. Informatics is basically the information, the design of it, the use of it, how it's disseminated, how it's assessed, how it's analyzed. Anything to do with information and how we engage with that information, that is all under informatics. Information technology, I think, is what we here in the States kind of use to describe informatics. I think informatics is a much more appropriate or accurate term, but it's pretty much the same thing. Is acceptance based on the major you're applying for or the school you're applying to? It is based on the major you're applying for because you get a first choice and a second choice. I have seen, for example, over the years, sometimes we get a student who may be a very strong candidate, but that the two majors, let's say they choose like computer science and engineering, and they don't quite qualify for either. However, the UCI will say, or UCLA, for example, they may say, listen, we are going to put you on a wait list. And we'll see if we can, what we can do later on and how we, and can we bring you back for consideration. In terms of, can you better your chances one way or the other for a major, which is typically a question I get, apply to the major you really want. Apply to the majors that you really want, first and second choice. You know, give it your best shot. It's the best way to make sure that if you're admitted, you're going to be able to start your degree as efficiently as possible. Is esports considered an actual sport, or is it, as in, is it competitive or just a side program? Actually, esport is an actual sport. Last year, we actually won the championship, the esports championship. You should take a look at the esports website. One of our faculty is actually a faculty advisor for esports. She works with and that's actually her area of interest. But yes, it is definitely something students do on a competitive basis, and it is very much an involved experience. How much weight will our GPA hold for the CS major since SATs are not looked at? That's actually, Kashali, that's actually an admissions question. I'm going to have you go back to the admissions office and go to their information session and ask that question. It's an excellent question. It's because we don't have this major specific admissions criteria. You are going to be looked at in terms of all the applicants for the School of ICS, and then who can readmit, and then what majors are they admitting to, for example. But it's really going to be important that you find out from the campus level, how is admissions going to be processed for UC, for UCI, and then is it going to be drilled down in a major specific way? So definitely ask that question to the admissions counselors, because those are the experts in the admissions area. What major path would I choose to end up in information technology field, server administration, computer board level repair, server administration, computer science and engineering. Repair technician, I think any of my students can really do after their first, second years here. So it just really depends on what you want to do. I'm just realizing the time. So I see the questions coming in. I am going to end the questions pretty soon because I have only 2 minutes left. So let me take this, is that what classes could we expect to take if we get AP credits? AP Computer Science Principles will not give you any credit for any course. If you look at the catalog online, the UCI catalog, you'll see a grid, a chart of what AP course exam will give you credit for what. Let's see, I'm a prospective transfer student interested in informatics. How do if I do not have experience or credits in programming, is it worth applying? Sienna, make sure you meet the transfer admissions criteria. The transfer admissions criteria for informatics, for example, is 1 year of programming. So in your community college, for example, if you take intro to C++ and then advanced C++, that's 1 year, and 2 semesters of it, that's 1 year of programming. So I would definitely encourage you to apply. I think you'll really enjoy the major. And we're not looking for people who have a very significant or very advanced, experience in programming. We just want students, we understand that transfer students will come in with maybe 2 semesters of computing experience. And that's really what we're looking for informatics. Could you please give me an email for the ICS school to contact for admissions and specific questions? For admissions, email them at admissions@uci.edu. If you have any specific questions about information computer sciences, its majors, student experience in ICS, email us at ucounsel@uci.edu, UCOUNSEL@uci.edu. Web development, it really depends on what you want to do with that. So for example, if you're going to work with the back end of it and then also create maybe a very robust database management system along with it, that might be computer science. If you're going to do more of a user experience, that's informatics. So it's why people who want to go in that area might actually even do a double major. I am recording this session. Admissions will work on putting it online. I do not know when they plan to do that, but I know they're going to do it. Kashali, please don't apologize. I love these questions, and so I'm super excited that I was able to get as many as I could done. In terms of, I'm asking is, let's say I can get into another college for computer science in the major, but in UCI I will get into game design as in my alternate major. What should I do? I want to be able to get jobs not only in designing games. I don't want to be limited. It does make sense, Diana. So I'll give you a better example. So I've usually over the years, I've had students, I got admitted to the computer science in UC Riverside. This actually happened to a family member of mine. But I didn't get into the major I want at UCI. What should I do? My advice is always take the major that you got into. And if they're even giving you financial aid, that's just the cherry on top, but start your major right away in whatever area you want to go into. Let's say, for example, you got into computer science at UC San Diego, and you got into game design and interactive media at UCI. I would then do a comparative analysis. What are the courses offered for each major? Are they going to meet my goals? Will it prepare me for my future goals? What is around my university of admission? Are there opportunities for me to then apply for internships in the surrounding community? And then will I be able to also enhance my educational experience by building my resume? So you do want to look at that. You also want to do another comparative analysis in terms of where am I going to be living? Where am I going to be taking my classes? Is this a campus that really fits well with me and my personality? Do I love it? You know, do I want to do, you know, or do I want to go with the other university? Because really, I can easily see myself there for 4 years and enjoying the environment. Housing options, there are a lot of housing options on campus, so you can definitely look into that. Housing should have an information session as well, but there is on-campus housing, there's off-campus housing as well. In terms of comparing our offerings to the other UC campuses, we are very proud in the UC system of really having a unique offering, each student a very unique computing experience. So the experience at UCLA in computing will not be the same experience as UC San Diego, UC Berkeley, UC Irvine, UC Santa Barbara. So it's you know, in all these years I've been doing this, I'm really happy to say I really can't compare the programs. What I really always advise is, again, take a look at the major, what the courses are, you know, are offered in that major, what are required for that major, and then take a look at the environment. Does it have, you know, a robust you know, business community around me, or tech community around me that I can actually do an internship while I'm pursuing my academic degree, you know, career. Are there opportunities for me to really have a much richer student experience? Are there a lot of student clubs? What's the environment like? I'm a surfer. Is it going to be easy for me to go to the beach, for example, and do that, let's say during summer breaks or in between whatnot? I'm someone who, you know, or someone who, for example, is really into community service. Does my campus of interest offer me opportunities to really continue, you know, being engaged in community service? Each campus does a great job of providing a very rich student experience. So it's really it's to determine what experience you want to have. You're going to be living there, you're going to be going there, you're going to be spending 4 years of your life there. So really, you know, you know, take time to really get to know the campus well, its culture, its courses. Can I take minors? Can I take courses just for fun? And, you know, will that be an opportunity I can do as well? You're all very, very unique in your areas of your interests. And you're also very unique in the fact that you don't just want to stick to your major courses. You all really enjoy taking courses just across campus, just for enjoyment. And that's really what we want. We want you to have a very wonderful, rich, diverse experience. So I am hoping that I got through all of my questions. In terms of any other admissions questions that you have, please do send them to the admissions office. Anything to do with admissions questions really should be asked of the admissions counselor. It's not my area of expertise. Mine is advising computing undergraduates. So I am truly thankful for all of your questions. They were wonderful. I hope I'm leaving you now with a better understanding of what we offer and what kind of an experience you have. I invite all of you to stick around. At 3 o'clock, we're going to have the data science information session. At 3:30, we're going to have the game design and interactive media information session. Both are our newest majors. They are very popular with our students. And I think you're really going to enjoy the experience in any of our majors. Data science, just to use an example, also has a 2-quarter-long senior design project experience. So I think you're going to really enjoy any major that you get admitted to and that you actually do engage in. Thank you all very much. I am now going to end the session because I am a little over time and I need to get prepared for the next one. I am so glad you guys really enjoyed it. Thank you all so much for the thank yous and then the feedback. I really appreciate it. Have a wonderful time. And I will hopefully see your questions on U Council, and then I'll hopefully see you in the next 2 sessions. Bye.